When Women Speak.
And New Jersey Poetry Events presents
When People Speak.
Poetry and conversation with pop-up poetry guests.
Your hosts will be Amira, Shabazz, Bilal.
And your co-host, James C. Ellerby.
So Mariah is Pure Fire, as you have seen. We're rounding it down or narrowing it down to our last featured poet. When People Speak does not have an open mic. We have only featured poets because we like to have conversations with them, which is not often done on the regular poetry scenes. We like to find out what makes these artists tick. We like to find out about their creativity, their intellect. And I'm glad I stopped at that last adjective, because the next gentleman coming up, from the moment I've met him, well, wait, let me just read his bio first before I go into all of that. So the next guest is John Gavin White. John Gavin White is a poet, philosopher, and educator with dual degrees in philosophy and women gender studies. White's research is centered at the intersection of the poetic as a lived philosophy and the Black male self-recovery in the U.S. He has featured several times on the world-famous Apollo Amateur Night, along with having performed or lectured at a number of universities in the United States and abroad, ranging from the University of Minnesota to Queen University in Belfast, Ireland, to the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. His debut poetry collection, I, John the Conqueror, is available for purchase through Spooten Duvel Publishing. And I hope I didn't jack that up too much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing to the stage Brother John Gavin White. Whew, that was a mouthful, John. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. And it's Spiting the Veil, which
Spiting Duvel, thank you.
Which literally means in spite of the devil, which is ironic.
Whoa, wait, in spite of the with them, so what character are you? No, I'm not even going to go there on you, John. Okay.
Hey, I got no, but in spite of them though, but no, my name, my tag, if anyone is interested in the book, just get to me directly. I wanted to say to Mariah I wanted to mention a book that may assist her in her writings, one of my Bibles, no pun intended, but Even Adam, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim readings on Genesis and gender. And okay. I took it.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to ask you to make sure you give that to me either or type it after I'm performing so that Mariah can get it. She's still listening out there.
Okay. But no, just my tag, my name. My tag is my name, John Gavin White on Instagram. Just get in contact with me directly, in spite of the devil. Oh man, I hope nobody. No, let me stop.
No, wait, we're not gonna play you up like that. So I'm gonna get off the stage because we're gonna have a conversation when you're done. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen out there in virtual land, Brother John Gavin White.
Okay. Hello. I'm just going to do 3 pieces from my book. My book is arranged autobiographically or semi-autobiographically, so there are no titles. I'm just going to do a hard pause in between the pieces, so maybe 2 or 3 pieces depending on the time. 8:35 right now. Okay. Can anybody name a book, or a song at least, that explains not how to abandon Black male rage, but rather keeping its history, slice it into separate, simpler hungers? I'm talking each sliver of self-recovery, stretched over a makeshift altar, in honor of the truth of the dark behind any mask. You see, dark boys must learn to wear any mask, or else there's the need for escape. And for freedom to carry dark boys through the heaviest of night, truer than true. Escape from ain't just escape from, but also escape to. Too much blood coagulating on dead earth for dark boys not to know where they're going. Too much dead earth for dark boys not to be disassembled and freed. Too much free for dark boys to consent to merely be single beings. As a dark boy, my whirling dervish of a consciousness became plural, and I left the mountainous part inside my head. I traveled downstream. I mastered the geometry of flight, that is, until black and night became day and white. The blue-eyed brick and mortar of sunlight is oppressively blinding, and a dark boy unseen collides with the world. His legacy, a primal scream of a searchlight that fails to illuminate the shadows of dark girls. Dark girls threaten to call back the history of dark boys as an extension of madness. Dark boys project dark girls into the future as atomic things, unwilling to face their Oppenheimer. The naturally dark, now rendered darker, having been dipped in black tar, left out to dry after grief. Dark boys and girls become dark men and women with grief thrown like dice against the subtext of the heart, the randomness of black love. To walk out and never return prevents gambling on black joy. I am a dark father with two dark daughters whose names purposely presuppose forgiveness. Their dark mother allowed me to name them in spite of having never forgave me, and thus I having never forgave myself. Any forgiveness in my life is too damn tired to make itself appealing. Besides, forgiveness is mundane when the heart is unrecognizable to the rest of the body. As a dark boy, my heart grew unbearable teeth, and forgiveness became just another word for food. But as a dark man with many kinds of open in hand, I can do more than just practice hunger. Hence my pen, hence my sword, my wound, my spillage. Of course I'm vulnerable, but forgiveness? Forgive me if my forgiveness forgives nothing. I find tethering what aches inside more pragmatic. Tethering what aches inside is how dark boys turn dark men, claim whatever gospel is heavy in the gut, and ride the wind. At least, this is how I understood Tony, describing the final or beginning moments of Milkman, Song of Solomon. Damn, there it is. If any of you are the listener listening with intent, you know from the beginning I just answered my own damn question. From this hypnagogic vernacular tomb of no more, please, and mercy, buried several fears deep in hard earth, memory defaults as blood gleams. Path becomes post, blood gleams, and poems shake violently to emerge from the dirt. I'm talking about good poems, where stanzas pulsate between curse and prayer. My newly resurrected body of work, presented with flesh thought inside out, flesh thought in layers, the way out is in. Grabbing the nearest book, littered with veins, is how I begin. After rinsing the word angst from my mouth, I noticed the cover is sanguine, homespun, partially undone. Fortunately, where I'm from, he, she with stolen life don't run. Where I'm from, he, she with stolen life is black without knowing exactly how blackness began, yet perform as if it's been told, as if the rumors of ancient rain have been confirmed of wetting the blackness of half bodies whole. My poems are indexed between body and thorn. Blood on a page bespeaks a nigga's competence. I'm a competent nigga. None of you will ever call me dead, even with breath removed. My blackest of black has a tenacious pact with the wind, and the tenacity of at least one of my two daughters will surely grip the placenta of a pen. My unruly geography remapped again, revealing a divinity that lets black bodies in, and I become a portion of the night, which means a portion of the moon, and a portion of its light, and a portion of how ocean kisses land with confidence to make things right, and a portion of what at least one of my two daughters surely better seek to name when she writes. F death. I consent not to be a single being, which is to say, I die to get back up and survey the rest of the day. If I refuse death by exile, am I saying house rules of human don't apply? Yes. Do I really have the gall to scream grievances at formalities of flesh? Yes. If I'm truly the center of my own altar, can I choose how to engage? Yes. Is mortality merely a muted paradox that correlates to little more than a blank page? Yes. The plan is to approach death possessed, oracle's eye for the word, eternal sleep truncated, tireless metaphor, similes heaped upon fallacies of finite, before now, before after, after which imagery invokes resuscitative breath through blasphemy of death devoted word, I come alive once more, indeed, the death defying dream. Quasi vertiginous reflections of a gangster lean, projective center, I stand alone, broken, whole, shading death, word, image, life, word, image, separated, there, here, impervious groundswell, rationale, fear, virtue, strife. Life itself appears only as a means to life. Indeed, we don't know how to live because we're convinced we know how to die. Hence, the poem has always been the only motive. The horizon is why. Four corners of my earth reaching the four corners of my sky. Sky. The fugitive act of stolen life waived, and to think there are still white folk who believe black men emerged fully formed from the grave. That's how that poem actually ends. So, last piece. To understand how I got here, you first have to understand how, for the black male body, the easy part is entering, exiting enough dreams, mouth open, speaking whatever language some non-black body allows it. The hard part is that this is actually something the black male body itself allows. Its mouth is a storied mouth. And if language is our only means of categorizing experience, this storied mouth is obviously not housed by an ordinary body. Flesh thought inside out, wounds licked clean, overlooked by what's overseen, the black male body is an extraordinary, extraordinary touring machine with a lucid hammer for a heart meant to actually soften the blow. The black male body is heroic enough to save itself and black enough to feel that all of it is indeed worth saving. However, with all of the weight the black male body is forced to carry in a single word, the black male body may be too black to save anything white. I mean, it is what it is. History did what it did. When facing white folk, the black male body is either too much camouflage or emperor's new clothes. I'm just saying. The water is one thing, but the bridge is another. I'm as black as male and black and male can appear. The Bible said blackness was the beginning, and shit, I'm still here. I would like to believe that someone in my own skin is here with me. This would mean that not everything beautiful was taken, just abandoned. And maybe I've covered enough ground to catalog what's been found. I'm talking generations of the black male body cutting off parts of itself, destined for destruction, and white folks having yet to fashion them into anything useful. I'm just saying, I'm gonna need my shit back. Nah, for real, I'm gonna need all of that. Judith Butler, a white woman, by the way, calls this taking an account of oneself. I try to account for the good white people in my life and remain absolute and unmoved. I try to account for the white people wanting to destroy me and remain absolute and unmoved. Yes, white people wanting to destroy the black male body. That's a thought. White people have destroyed the black male body. Frantz Fanon, a black man, by the way, speaks to white folk having created the black male body for the sole purpose of destroying the black male body. And who would I be if I didn't agree? Hence the proverb and song of the black male body crossing over, disjointed in the black male body that crosses back. The black male body crossing over, disassembled, and the black male body that crosses back. The black male body dismembered, crossing over, and the black male body that crosses back. For me and mine, it's been at least sevenfold. I'm talking at least 7 generations of push and pull in a land reckless and rancid with rationale, and here I am, John Gavin White. Ironic, huh? Thank you.
Okay. All right, John. First of all, thank you for being a part of When People Speak and bringing such a level of profound poetry to this platform. It's a serious poetry venue, and we are most happy to have you be a part of it. Um, the first thing I'd like to know is, do you have a copy of your book in front of you with the cover so that the people out there can see it? Okay, yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Um, I'm going to mention here before we even get into the book itself, the art that John has been sharing on his social media is just out of this world, along with his written word. The book is full of this type of poetry that you've just heard John demonstrate for us on a live platform here. It is a wonderful collection of poems at such a level that it's going to take you some time to traverse through the literary work of John Gavin White, but it will be worth the journey every step of the way. Um, the first thing that caught my eye about the book was, in fact, the quotes that were in the beginning, and in my opinion, the quotes themselves were affirmation. Like it was the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. And you also added, my light is brilliant. Can you expand on those two quotes, why you chose them for the initial part of your book?
For the sake of brevity, I'll just say, okay, just explain. Like my poetry is not, is technically not really poet. I don't. Half of it is poetry, and but literally the other half is an epilogue, about same amount of 50 plus pages explaining my philosophical framework
Mm.
and intellectual through my writing. So it explains, and I'm gonna get, this is my long way getting to your answer, 2 second style. My philosophy of poetic, real quick, is uh, the unified the attempt at the unified approach towards emotion, or the unified treatment of emotion, logic, language, and thought against the backdrop of oppression.
Mm.
More specifically, it's the fragmented. When the fragmented contemplates wholeness, when that which is fragmented takes an attempt at the unified treatment of emotion, logic, language, and thought against the backdrop of oppression in the US. And when Black men do this, particularly cisgendered, heterosexual Black men take this up, is what I refer to as Black male self recovery in the US, which basically deals with the historical erasure of Black male vulnerability against the backdrop of oppression in the US. But part and parcel of my philosophy of poetic is Viennese philosopher by the name of Ludwig Wittgenstein, who, if you Google greatest philosophers of the 20th century, at least for white folks, he's usually number one. And yeah, yeah. So I appropriated a great deal of his work, but what he says, for example, I could easily use the quote from Frantz Fanon, who said something similar to to take on the white man's language is to take on his world.
Mm.
I mean, he said this in the last chapter of Black Skin, White Mask, but language is our only means of categorizing experience. I mean? So it's the same thing when Baldwin said, no matter what you're going through, describe it. You can describe it, you can name it. If you name it, that denotes understanding. You're never at the mercy of that which you understand. But to do that, you got to sit with it. You can't run from it. So
Well,
that was a
this
long-winded answer. I'm sorry,
I
though.
mean,
Yeah.
no, it was beautiful. Excuse me for interrupting. There's a whole lot of philosophy in what you say and what you write and how you present it to the world. Um, you know you're original. As far as I'm concerned, I find your work truly fascinating. Um, your originality is so sublime because you know somewhere out there, there is someone in the audience that might be able to connect, or is that even anywhere in what you're trying to project when you give your words to the world? That's the first part of this question. The second part is, um, for some in the audience, your words are pure magic. So are you writing to soothe your own soul, or are you writing to share your your philosophy with those that are out there, and maybe in hopes of them connecting and rising themselves or raising themselves to a higher intellectual platform? What do you think?
Um, all right, the first part, for the sake of say 52, I'm always conscious of time, having, I never want to be that person who goes over time. For the sake of brevity, again, in regards to philosophy, it's real. The pragmatic answer is it's real simple. A great deal of black and brown folks in this land who we look up to, or we hear the name, like they studied philosophy either formally or informally. So Du Bois originally was going to do his doctorates in philosophy until he was rejected by Harvard, or was it Princeton? Harvard. But they was like, you can't do philosophy, black. And he came up with sociology. He came up with that field. Stokely Carmichael, he was philosophy major, got his degree in philosophy. Angela Davis, degree in philosophy. Lorraine Hansberry, she studied philosophy under Du Bois in Chicago. Amiri Baraka, he was philosophy, then transferred over to English. So like, or even Malcolm, informally, when Malcolm was stressing that this is a human issue, human rights issue, he was reading somebody by the name of George Hegel, who came up with the Hegelian dialect that the Marxism dialect appropriated. But I'm no more as human to the extent that somebody else who I see as human sees me as human, reciprocates that. But he was reading Hegel every day, which is a hard read, but his bodyguard was documenting that, speaking about that. So yeah, so it's just me reading that. Okay, I'm reading about these black folks reading about philosophy, so maybe I should, dip my toes in it a little bit, to say the very least. But the second part is no, it's about me.
It's about you.
It's ironically, by being so specific and being so personal, it eventually reaches a point where it speaks to the universal. So, like as we know, like music wise, the greatest songs, the more personal, subjective, the more that other subjects can read into it. Like a great Prince song, Gracie, the more they state detail about places that we have no reference points to, we somehow can read into it more. Same thing with poetry, yeah. When they say, don't tell me, show me,
Well,
and giving it up, huh?
I think you're showing people, and I'm thinking that maybe most people, when they're hearing you present your work, they may not be able to digest the entire piece, but I'm sure there are parts of it that they allow to resonate down deep into their soul. It's also your presentation, the flurry of words that come over your tongue and out into the world. They hit us. They hit us. And I remember the first time that I heard you recite something, I said, man, you should have warned me that I needed a notebook, because I definitely will have a notebook, write down whatever it is that I was trying to understand, so that later I could reflect on it and come back and ask you questions about it. So that has not changed. I just want you to know that.
I I have to say, just real quick, 2 second style. Anyone, and I get the sentiment, and I know it's nothing disrespectful, but I'm very like, if you do get a notebook, I mean, you do get a dictionary, and you do look up, because I hate if I'm listening to a poet, academic poet, or however you want to put it, and I go and I look up to see what they're talking about, and I'm like, they could have just said this. They have me dig
Oh no. Oh
tool
no.
that even could be found above ground. No. So the more you do dig, that is, if you're willing to, because it is a lot. It's not for everybody. It's dense. The more you dig, the more you will find. I place a lot of time and effort into my writings, and like Toni Morrison said, you write the book that you love, or you write the book that you want to love, that have it. I love it when when a book that means something to me, I think I understand, and then I come to find out something else in my life, a new degree of understanding, and I go back to that book, and now it becomes new to me. Like
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, and
You're
yeah.
doing
So
that
I'm
with
not.
your own work. You're doing that with your own work. You're doing that with your own work. And usually readers do that with other people's work. It's like every time I read this book, I'm getting something new out of it. And it's fascinating to me that you find that in your own work. That's a beautiful thing. My last question, because you have reminded me of time. I met you several times. One of which was, and you probably don't even remember these instances. One of which was in Military Park. You were with none other than Jerry Gamp, and he was a good friend of yours, wasn't he, Jerry?
Yeah. Why are you bringing him up? Oh
No,
man.
no, 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 because the two of you,
Oh, here we go.
two of you have a place in my heart that, like, I
Oh,
don't
I
even
did dedicate the book to him and my daughter. Yeah, yes,
know.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
I
go.
want to ask
Yeah.
this question. You guys, like, he used to yell at me all the time, and then he used to always try to play like, I'm not speaking to Amir, I'm not speaking to that Muslim, and then I have to like yell at him, like, you better stop pretending that you don't know me. But anyway, the case is, have you had anyone else on the horizon that you have been able to converse with, share with, that like the way that you would with Jerry?
No.
That
No.
is,
Why would you? Come on.
come
No.
on,
No.
I wanna make this
No.
conversation interesting. What else could I ask you?
Wow. You can ask me about my daughters or something. That's
Well,
crazy.
well,
But
you want me to
Jerry,
do stories about your daughters? I can do that too. Like the first
no, no,
time.
no, I cannot know. But just Jerry wasn't anyone who had any understanding of Jerry, which wasn't a lot of people because he wasn't fun, but Jerry wasn't an easy person to deal with. And that's where we connected. I can say that we shared a lot of the same demons and anxieties, insecurities. But Jerry had a great deal of respect for me, and he was very vulnerable with me on a lot of levels. But no, to answer your question directly, there was a lot of times because a lot of my livelihood is based in the city, and I'm always walking. I'm downtown Newark, walking to the train, coming back. Like I just came back from Brooklyn, from the Target in Brooklyn, like 'cause that's my Target in the Atlantic Center. But I will always see Jerry late night, if nothing else, late night, and yeah, and one of my fondest memories, but it was worse like when Jerry was trying to cut back on drinking, he was just drinking white wine. And in his mind, white wine, and he had a gallon of white wine. And we saw each other. I'm leaving Newark Broad Street. He was like, yo, come drink with me. We sat in front of Newark Museum. And I was already drinking, and I was so we finished that gallon of white wine, like sitting in front of Newark. I think I must have threw up in Newark in front of music. It was crazy. I'm like, Jerry, you got white wine? I thought you was trying to stop. He's like, it's white wine, nigga. It's white wine. This ain't beer. So, but yeah, but no. With Jerry, there's a certain dialogue that I will never, ever, I can't, yeah. Because Jerry lived such a specific life. There was such a specificity to Jerry, for better or for worse. So yeah, no, that's gone. But that's what fuels me though. That's what fuels me.
Because I know his spirit is still here, and I know that he probably walks with you, and he's probably here right now, and he's probably the reason that I brought that question up because it wasn't on my list of questions to ask you. So anyway, yeah, there's a common love between the two of us for him. The last question, since you brought it up, I do remember a time in the past when we were at a poetry venue, and you and I didn't really know each other that well. We know each other now. We've grown to know more about each other. And you were with your daughters, and
Started crying,
yeah,
and I thought,
yeah, you know what I'm gonna say. That moment in time when you just worked the pain out of that little girl, by massaging and talking to her calmly, where most men would not have had that patience.
say it again so our mother can hear it. Say it again so people can hear it. No,
I'll call Akiba. Don't get me in trouble with her.
So yes. No, 'cause she thinks I'm too tough, and I'm like, you don't get it. This is when she's around, I am. But if it's just me and them, no. I'm a push like, yeah, yes. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
So the question is, have either of the girls, because both you and Akiba are very creative and talented people. Do you see any of you in either girl or any of that philosophical poetry, poetic, any of that in either child? I know I see art in them because I've been with them where they've created art. I've been with them.
Yeah, but the parts of me I see in them is not. I wish they had more of their mother that I see they had, but their temperament is, I hate to say it, is like mine. Like they're a lot. And I wish one of them was as calm as their mother and their grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
They're alive. I see my imagination. Like Kindred, my oldest, has, yes, a lot of my anxieties and my fear just within the quote unquote feminine form, I guess, primarily. She's very dramatic as I am, and yeah. Now, Empathy, my youngest, she's a maverick. I don't. Yeah, yeah. But they're
Right.
both alike, though, as they should be. You know, as Audre Lorde said, children are here to hold us accountable. But I
Right.
really wish one of them was, had their mother's temperament. It was just like calm, cool, relaxed. But
Well, I think
nah,
Akiva is like the queen of calmness. I don't think I've ever seen her angry or raise her voice at anything. She's just the queen that she will be and is. Do you have anything coming up? Oh, where can we get the book? That's what. Are you going to type that in the chat? Are you going to give that to me so I can put it on the caption of this video?
just DM me or go to my Instagram page. Um, and the purchasing link is there. I mean, there's other places, but for me to immediately profit off of it, it's yeah, just go to my Instagram page. You can DM me, Facebook, direct message me. My next show, my actual show, I mean, nothing in Jersey. I mean, next week is something in Brooklyn. It's on my Instagram page. A rooftop feature in person. That should be nice. But the rest, as of right now, it's late summer, fall, Midwest, out in the West, Cali. Like
Nice.
it's been good. Yeah,
Give me your handle. Give me your handle so I can put it out there so that people can connect with you if they want to get the
Oh, it's
book.
down the bottom of my name. It's John Gavin White.
Okay.
No,
Everybody,
it's just my name. Yeah,
yeah,
John Gavin White.
here, John Gavin White. So, John, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Because you've given us everything, and you're a wonderful feature. I don't think that, well, there's just no comparison in my heart as far as your work goes, and I look forward to meeting with you again in that world of poetry and hearing your work. I have the book. I have purchased the book, and I'm going to get through it, and then we're going to have some more conversation about it as I go through it. Oh, one last thing. The art is amazing. Where are you
Oh,
getting?
so you know what? That's what I want to say. All right. So if I have to say anything, and I have to say this every time I speak because people. So on my Instagram page, I've only had an Instagram page that worked since the beginning of this year. I feel embarrassed to say that I've had an Instagram account for years, but I never thought it was different from Facebook. I was wrong in a lot of ways, but everything you see on my Instagram page, it's if you see any photo, artwork, it's a piece from a certain artist that I'm aware of. I'm fond of their work that correlates to an excerpt of my writings. So every single piece. But I have people who just click on the artwork and like it, and then they hit me up saying, where can they buy the, prints? And I'm like, well, I know it's Instagram, but if all of that was my art, I would be the greatest artist in the world because there's so
Well, you are, but you would be even greater.
yeah, like, but I would say that to anybody, please, if you have the time, if you go to my Instagram page, click on, the excerpt, read the excerpt to the writing. Yeah, like I'm very specific. I'm very big on specificity and clarity. And I'm a great deal of the shows I've done in the past has been in various art galleries all over the country. And I know my art. I know my fine artists, my visual artists. I really do. My photographers. A lot of them, but my favorites are West Africans, just happen to be. And yeah. So, but yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you, Brother John Gavin White. Readings from I, John the Conqueror. And this book is now available by direct from John. He gets better proceeds that way, as do we all. And that has been the April edition of When People Speak. Thank you, John. I will talk to you soon. And I am very, very happy that you joined us here on this platform. I will talk to you soon. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that closes out our show for this evening. On the way out, I just want to, if I might, I should have asked his permission, but he has a poem that I just want to just talk about the first stanza, and it's quoted. But if the bullet misses, dare I dream God, a black single mother, and I, her only begotten son, a God who takes the long walk home to dare to dream the day I no longer have to run. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an excerpt from John Gavin White. And good night.
Promote your business live on When People Speak. Our promo videos are 35 seconds. They're ran for 3 shows, and it's a good way to grow your business. Support our platform at a low promotion fee. And remember, your business matters. And you can do that by emailing us at whenpeoplespeak@gmail.com. So support When People Speak. Be a sponsor. Be part of the family. We know you're enjoying the show so far, and this is how you can show your support of When People Speak. You can donate now at Cash App, $Amira Shabazz. So support the artist, support the platform. You are the ones that make this show possible. So continue to allow more impactful, inspiring shows by donating now.